Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. My name's Ellie and this is my YouTube channel essentially about my experience during the cultural representative program in Disney World in Florida. I'm sure you can probably see I'm not really in Florida anymore. I'm actually at home in my bedroom because I just completed the program about a month and a half ago now. I've been home 2 months at the end of this month. So just going to be about me coming down from the greatest year of my life and how I'm handling it. About a month ago, I asked some of you guys over on my Instagram for some questions. Of course, you guys always ask CRP questions. I don't blame you. My life is pretty boring without the CRP, so I'm basically just going to do a Q&A about the cultural representative program. I actually did one before, so I'll link that down here in case you want to watch that too. I feel like the questions are going to be kind of similar, but some of them are a little bit different, so I'll try and answer them in a different way just in case you guys want to get that 360 look on everything. I feel like these questions were asked quite a while ago, so I can't remember what any of them are. I had a quick look this morning because I was like, whereabouts are they on my phone? I can't even find them anymore. So bear with me if I'm a little bit like, I don't know how to answer this. Also, I do quite a few Q&As over on my Instagram as well, even just little ones. Like I did one a couple of days ago just asking me fun facts about myself. I really enjoy doing Q&As. It really makes my brain like go around like this. So make sure you follow me on Instagram. It's just at Ellie Brown, spelled exactly like my name, so you can stay up to date with that as well. The first question is from Lexa Shea, and it's, did you feel like your CRP was too long? No, actually, I honestly feel like it wasn't long enough. When you first get there, time goes really slowly and that first month feels like it really drags, but I think that's because you're getting used to a new environment and being away from home and being away from family and friends. But once you start to really get used to it, so about 3 to 4 months in, that's when time starts to go like this and you're like, I've got 5 months left, 4 months, 3, and then, you know, your program's over. I remember it being Christmas and me being like, oh my god, I'm halfway through my program. 6 months is a really long time. 6 months isn't a long time, and a year isn't a long time either, and you really need to make the most out of every single second of your day and every moment of your program because it flies by so quickly. So no, a year is not too long. Chloe Tovel asks, I remember my most magical Disney store moment so well. What was yours from your CRP? This is a really tough question actually, because I don't feel like I can pinpoint one specific moment. That's the most amazing thing about working for Disney, is you get to make these special moments for guests, and I feel like that's what's important to me. I feel like you can do things that you can't do anywhere else under any other employer, and even if it is giving out one sticker to a child or taking 5 minutes to speak to a family about their day, to them that could pinpoint an amazing memory for the rest of their life and something that they will remember from that holiday just from you taking time to speak to them. Hannah Ellen asked, the hardest thing about working in Disney World? I feel like the hardest thing for me was sometimes I'd be at work and I'd see guests having fun and I'd look across the water at all the different pavilions in the different countries and I'd be like, I don't want to be at work, I want to be having fun too. So maybe it was jealousy of guests having a good time. Hannah also asked, would you be able to do some in-depth videos about the application one day? This is something that somebody asked me over on my Instagram Q&A a couple of days ago, so if this is something you guys would like to see, please let me know, message me on Instagram, let me know in the comments, all those things. I find it really difficult to give advice about applying to the program. A lot of people ask me, what should I put in my cover letter? What should I put in my motivation paragraph? Is my CV okay? Like, asking me all of these questions, but I really think that your application should be personal to you. It's important that you write what motivates you, not me, not Bill next door, not Jeff down the street. It's what motivates you to do the program and what's important to you about culture and working for Disney. And I think that's what's important, and people need to understand that. I'll give advice to the extent of you need to be passionate, be yourself, showcase all of your relevant skills. I'm here for that, but I'm not going to say write this and then write this because that'll get you an interview, because I honestly couldn't tell you what got me an interview this time. But if you guys want me to talk about some advice I can give you, and maybe some bare bones about what I would do better if I was to apply again, then absolutely I can do that for you. But unfortunately I can't sit here and tell you exactly what to write, because then your application wouldn't be just individual to you. Everybody that watched this video would be the same. Jessica Bridge asked, 22 of us had our final interview last Wednesday and we don't find out until the end of August. How do we cope? So some of you might be unaware that applying for the cultural representative program is a giant waiting and guessing game. For me, I applied July 2017. I had my Yummy Jobs interview September, my Disney interview October, and then I found out the November that I was going out for the June 2018. So it's a really long process. I was one of the first groups to go out from that interview stage. Some people went out as late as October, so it can be a really, really long process. So you really just need to chill out, relax, try not to get too invested in social media and what everybody else is doing. I know it's difficult, but you will just get yourself upset and worked up, especially if it's something you want really bad, because you're gonna be thinking about it all the time. You're gonna be refreshing your emails every day, and yeah, I understand I did that. It's normal, but it's not healthy for you because it's gonna be something that overtakes your mind. In the meantime, I'd recommend reading a book, maybe start writing a blog about your experience, start vlogging, go out with friends, go to the Disney store, watch Disney movies, you know, just keep yourself occupied. And maybe what I was doing as well, I'd convinced myself that I wasn't getting in, this wasn't the thing for me, I wasn't going to be able to have the opportunity that I wanted, and I started to work on my application for next time. I started to look for different jobs online, thinking about how I can extend my skills. And maybe you're not in that mindset, but I know me personally, that was a mindset that I was in. Harriet Brooks asked, what was the process like from the first interview to getting the role at Disney World? So like I just said, it's a very long process. I talked about it a bit more in depth when I did my other CRP Q&A. It's basically a different round of interviews, applications with Yummy Jobs, and then with Disney. Kerry Lois Owen asked, would you consider working for Disney again, in brackets apart from the Disney store, and then a little cruise line emoji. So I used to want to work on Disney Cruise Line. It was something that I've wanted to do for a very long time. You can't physically apply to work on the cruise until you're 21, so it's not something I've ever been able to apply to before because I only just turned 21 3 weeks ago, so I'm newly of adult age according to America. I really wanted to be a character performer either on the cruise ships or in Disneyland Paris. That's something that I've always held really close to my heart and something that I've wanted to do for an extremely long time. But I've since met friends that have done the cruise line, and I have been on board the cruise ship on the Disney Dream and seen some of the living conditions, and I just don't think it's something that I would like to do personally. I use a lot of social media. I know you can see that. I FaceTime my boyfriend a lot. We're in a long distance relationship. I'm in contact with my parents all the time, and on the cruise ship there isn't a lot of leniency for contacting the outside world, basically, due to signal, things like that, Wi-Fi. So personally, I just don't think that's something I can cope with. Also, the living conditions are very small, very compact. I understand it's a cruise ship, it's like that on every cruise ship. I just really don't think that's something that I could get on board with. Who knows, maybe I'll change my mind. I'm always open to new ideas, and it's something I wanted to do a long time ago. So maybe I'll change my mind. Who knows, never say never, but as of right now, it's not something that I would like to do. Olivia M asked, how many days a week did you have to work on the CRP? So, to not violate our visa, we had to work a minimum of, I believe, 32 hours. I could be wrong, but I think it's 32 hours. So you would be scheduled, work 5 days and have 2 days off. Those 32 hours would be across that. But 32 is like a minimum, so you could work anywhere from 32 to 39 to 45, and that's when you start to get in your overtime and things like that. I always like to pick up extra shifts. I like to work all day instead of just the morning or the afternoon, That was just me personally. I really enjoy work, and I loved obviously working at Disney World at the Rose and Crown, so I would never shy away from picking up extra shifts and getting to work longer. So in the busier periods, you'd probably be scheduled for 6 to 8 weeks, but it's really easy to get rid of shifts and swap shifts and things like that, so it's definitely not an issue. Heidi Clayton asked, did working in the Disney CRP ruin Disney for you as a holiday? No, actually, working for Disney for me always makes things 10 times more magical, because when you see things behind the scenes, it means that you see some things that aren't as magical as on stage. And sure, I believe that could ruin it for some, and I have met some people that it has ruined some of the views of Disney, but for me it's more magical because when I then go to the parks, I forget about everything backstage, and it's even more magical that there's so many things going on that we don't even realize as guests, and for me that's great, and I love that. Sarah Louise Martin asked, your fave attraction in each park? Okay, let's start with Epcot. So probably gonna be Frozen Ever After, but I am a really big fan of Nemo with the Seas and Friends. It's one of those rides that every time I go to Epcot I have to ride it. Animal Kingdom. Obviously I love Flight of Passage, it's phenomenal, but Everest is a really good roller coaster too. Magic Kingdom, my favourite ride used to be Space Mountain, but then one day I saw it with the lights on, and I've just been terrified on it ever since, because the bars are quite low down, so I feel like I'm just like this the whole way around. I love the Carousel of Progress though. I think it's absolutely timeless and iconic. Haunted Mansion, Pirates of the Caribbean. I like all of the classic rides, put it that way. Hollywood Studios, my favourite is definitely Rock and Roller Coaster. I absolutely love it. Although one time I did lose my magic band on it, and that was a wee bit of stress, but it's all good. Sarah also asked, would you do a second CRP? What are your future plans? Do you always want to work for Disney? I really am hopeful that I'll get to do a second CRP. I can only imagine that a second program would be as magical, if not more magical, than the first program. So I really hope that I get the opportunity to go back and live my amazing year all over again. My future plans, does that mean the imminent future, or like are we talking 10 years future? Imminent future, my plan is to stay here in Norwich and just stay in my current job. 10 years time. And do I always want to work for Disney? Yes. I can only hope that I'm able to work for Disney as long as I can feasibly do it. I love working for the company, and I've nearly worked for the company 5 years now, so it's been the most amazing, stressful, challenging, magical 5 years of my life, but I wouldn't have changed it for the world, and I've learned so many amazing things, and I can only imagine how many more things I can learn in years to come. EJ Midwinter asked, do you know anything about the CEP? I dream of doing CRP, but think CEP is next best thing. Thanks. Unfortunately, I don't really know a lot about the cultural exchange program. I believe the application process is very similar to the CRP, but you have to be enrolled in university, so it's a little bit different. The summer one, you can be enrolled in anything, but I believe the year one has to be in a specific sector, so things like travel and tourism, business. Definitely look on Yummy Jobs' website. They have all of the criteria on there, because I honestly don't know much about it because I never went to university, so it's not something I've ever applied to, although I really would love to do it because it means you can work in any location in any of the parks, merchandise, food and beverage, attractions. There's so many different options, and I wish it was something I was able to apply to, but unfortunately it's not. EJ also asked, best advice for someone doing GCSEs next year who would love to do the CRP? Well, advice for doing your GCSEs, definitely take it easy, take time to study, but also take time to relax as well. Don't overdo it. Don't always listen to your teachers because unfortunately they're not always right. Set a timetable, set time for each subject and plan it all out, do mind maps. Have the best stationery ever because nothing makes me happier to revise than good stationery. Pick subjects that interest you, things that you're good at, not always things that you think will look good on your CV, because nobody ever looks at my GCSEs on my CV anymore. They just want to know if I have English and maths. Believe in yourself, take time for yourself. and stick together with your friends. They're going to be your rock through this hard time. VV228 asks, what camera do you use? I use the Canon G7X. Chloe Hansen asks, what was your favourite memory from the CRP? So I was thinking about this the other day actually when people were asking me questions over on my Instagram. I think something for me right now that's really solidifying in my head is when I did a staycay at the Contemporary. We did theme park view, club level. So what that means is club level is something where you pay a little bit extra and you have a little club lounge where you can go get free snacks, free drinks, take them back to your room. You have dressing gowns, slippers in your room. It's just a little bit more upmarket and a little bit bougie. You can only do it in more of the deluxe resorts, so they do it in like Grand Flow, Polynesian, Animal Kingdom Lodge, things like that. We also had a theme park view from the room, so the Contemporary is basically to the right of Magic Kingdom when you're looking straight on at it. So we could literally see Cinderella's Castle, Space Mountain, we could even see Splash Mountain, the little boats going down. It was amazing. We sat on our balcony for so long just watching the park, and we could see the fireworks. We sat on our balcony and watched Happily Ever After. So for me, I'm looking back and I'm like, whoa, that's not something I would ever have been able to do just on holiday. So I feel very grateful for that, and I look back at the pictures and I'm like, whoa, how did we do that? It's just surreal. We also had a theme park view from the room, so the Contemporary is basically to the right of Magic Kingdom when you're looking straight on at it. So we could literally see Cinderella's Castle, Space Mountain, we could even see Splash Mountain, the little boats going down. It was amazing. We sat on our balcony for so long just watching the park, and we could see the fireworks. We sat on our balcony and watched Happily Ever After. So for me, I'm looking back and I'm like, whoa, that's not something I would ever have been able to do just on holiday. So I feel very grateful for that, and I look back at the pictures and I'm like, whoa, how did we do that? It's just surreal. Meg Clift asked, what's your favourite restaurant on Disney property? So my favourite is probably going to be Our Guest, because Beauty and the Beast is my favourite Disney film, so I feel very emotional every time I go there, and the food is phenomenal. I cannot recommend it enough. Recently, I say recently, back in April, I did have the opportunity to dine at Cinderella's Royal Table, and that's something that I never thought that would be possible. So that was an amazing opportunity as well, and the food was really good in there too. Daniel's favourite restaurant is Jico, and that's somewhere he'd take me a fair bit, and I love the food there as well, so that's definitely up there. That one's at Animal Kingdom Lodge, so it's a little bit further out, but I definitely recommend it. Matt Greetham asked, who are your favourite people to work with on your CRP? Obviously Matt Greetham. Lou Alexandra asked, if you don't mind saying, how much did you earn in an average month on CRP including tips? So when you're on podium or in merchandise, you are going to be on, I believe it's $11 an hour, which is really good. I think it's fair enough, and then your rent just comes instantly out of your wage, so you don't have to worry about paying rent or anything. It's just instantly taken out. So you can earn some really good money if you start going into overtime and picking up loads of hours. When you then go into service, into food and beverage, you earn half of it, so I believe I was on $5 something an hour, and then obviously you have your tips as well, so it's a little bit different. Depending on the time of year, how busy it was, you could earn all different kinds of money depending on what you were able to do as a server, what you could pick up, what you could balance. It varies from server to server. I was very lucky that I had 9 months in the kitchen in a tipped role, so I was able to save a lot of money and travel a lot of places. I'm very grateful that I had that much time in the kitchen, whereas I know some people did 6 months on podium, 6 months in the kitchen, 5 months in the kitchen, so you don't always get to be that lucky. So I definitely recommend saving as much money as you can whilst you're in service, because that's when you're going to be earning the more money. Angel MRGN asks, what is something you wish you did on your CRP? I actually have a bucket list from before my CRP, so I should probably go through that and see what things I did manage to do and what things I didn't. I never resort hopped. I don't know why. That was something I wish I would have done, maybe just on the monorail loop and done the Magic Kingdom resorts. I never did that. I wish I would have had a character day. and I wish I would have done the challenge of doing all of the attractions in Magic Kingdom in one day. Angel also asked, what tips or pieces of advice would you give to people hoping to do the CRP? I would say be patient, get all of the relevant skills, highlight everything that's important to the job on your CV, talk about culture, your passion, why you are the best thing for Disney World. Angel also asked, what do you miss most about working at Walt Disney World? I miss being around amazing people every single day, being inspired every day, feeling grateful to be there, and being able to make magic for thousands of guests that are on holiday for a once-in-a-lifetime trip. Meg Clift asked, which housing complex do you think is the best? This is a really difficult question because every housing complex has all of its pros and cons. I lived at Chatham Square and I really loved it. The main con for me was the fact that I had to sleep in a bunk bed. So if I were to do a second program, I feel like I would put Vista as my top because I really did not enjoy sleeping in a bunk bed for a year. It was uncomfortable. I felt like really contained and almost claustrophobic because I didn't have my own space because I couldn't see anything above me. I'd recommend Vista if you really don't want a bunk bed. Meg also asked, how was having a room with bunk beds? I'm worried it'll be too much. Like I said, I didn't enjoy sleeping in a bunk bed. I'm 20 years old. I'm 21 now, but I was 20 years old at the time, and I don't want to be sleeping in a bunk bed anymore. It was uncomfortable, but you know, I got on with it and I got used to it. It wasn't the end of the world. It was a bed at the end of the day, and I didn't spend very much time in my bed, so it was something that I just had to get on board with and had to deal with. So, you know, it wasn't that bad per se, and at the time it was fine. But since I've been back in my own bed, I'm like, I can never sleep in a bunk bed again. Meg also asked, how did you sort bringing your money back from the US? So I used an app called Transferwise. It's what majority of people use whilst they're sending their money back to the UK. It's basically just an app that you can trust to send your money back to your UK bank account. I tried to send money home like every week just so it didn't hit my bank account as hard as sending like thousands of dollars home at once. And that really worked for me, and it was a good way for me to save money and be consistent with it. But I know some people take money home in cash because then they can change it back to pounds when they get home and it won't cost them as much, because you do have to pay a fee when you use Transferwise. But for me, I really enjoyed having it out of my US bank account, and it basically didn't exist to me because it wasn't in there, so I couldn't spend it. Hannah K. Hillier asked, what is the best thing about working with Disney and the CRP? So, like I said, for me, I love working for Disney because I love being able to share my knowledge of the brand and represent such an amazing company and to make magic for millions of people. Millions? Maybe not millions. I've met a lot of guests in my time, but maybe not millions. Thousands. That's better, actually. And that for me is important. I really love having the responsibility and the opportunity to make an impact on people's holidays. Lydia Hubie, I don't know, I'm sorry, Lydia, asked, the most challenging thing you faced on the CRP. So probably it's gonna be being away from home, missing my family, friends, my boyfriend, my dog. It's really difficult when sometimes you're having a bad day and you want to go home and hug your mum and you physically can't. The best thing you can do is call her, and even then the time difference makes it difficult to just have a simple conversation. And for me, that's something I've really enjoyed since being home, is being able to reconnect with all of my close ones and just having 5-10 minutes to have a quick chat. Like, you don't realize all the mundane little things that you take for granted. Sully1302 asked, how to mentally prepare myself for 1 year apart from all I love and know. Well, you know, it is a 1 year program, and that means that it's temporary, so even if you are having bad days, you know that there is an end date in sight. I know that obviously you don't want to be thinking about your time in Florida coming to an end because it is such a small amount of time at the end of the day and such a tiny part of your life, but that's why you need to have the balance of, this isn't my real life, it is an amazing experience, but it's not my real life, and I will go back to my real life. So that's why you need to really make the most out of every single opportunity that you can and go to the parks, travel, see the world. Like, there's not going to be another time in your life where you have the opportunity to do all these amazing things and hop on the bus to Magic Kingdom for 2 hours, have a Dole Whip and go home. Stephanie Sawyers asked, if you did the CRP again, would you ship your car over to Florida and drive? No, I wouldn't. I actually recently just bought a new car, so that was a really big investment for me, and she's going to stay here if I ever end up doing a second program. Depending on where I am at life and what I would want from a second program, I would definitely consider investing in a car. I've never driven in America, so you know, that would be a really big learning curve for me, but for me, I've been driving since I was 17, so that's 4 years now. I've always loved having the freedom of being able to just hop in my car and go to Tesco's or go shopping or just silly things like that. And when you're in Florida, there's a lot of exploring you want to do and a lot of road trips, beach trips, shopping, things that can be difficult with Disney housing and Disney transport. I feel like I spent a lot of money on Ubers because I was trying to get to this place, to that place. So having a car definitely benefits you. It's just whether I feel like the investment would be enough for me. Lisa Marie L04 asked, how hard did you find moving away from home for a year? So for me, it was actually my first time living away from home. Like I said, I didn't go to university, so it's my first time moving out of my childhood home, being away from my family, my friends. So it was difficult, and in a way it's like a sense of freedom, so you're really excited at first and you're like, I'm away, like I'm all by myself, I can do whatever I want, I can stay out as late as I want, come in when I want, leave at 2 AM if I want to. But the more I got into it, I was like, I don't want to do any of these things, I just want to go to bed at 7 PM and watch Netflix. Like, but it gets easier as time goes on, and settling back into my home here has been super easy, and it feels like I never left. So I feel like independence is something that comes with time, and is something that you get more comfortable with time, but it does get easier, so definitely stick to it. Chloe at Wonderland asks, what would you do differently if you did the CRP again? It's a really tough question. I don't feel like I regretted anything from my program. I definitely made the most of every single day, and I took advantage of every single opportunity that was chucked at me, so I don't really know. Maybe try to travel more. I did a lot of traveling in my year, but there's still a lot more of the US that I would like to see, so maybe traveling. Alice Megan asks, is there anything you learned that you didn't think you'd learn from the program? I feel like I learned a lot about myself that I didn't think I was going to learn, and it gave me a lot of opportunities to really extend who I am and my opportunities, and investing in myself basically to go forward with life, with my career, with relationships, friendships. And I really didn't think that would do that for me, and it was something that really resonated in me. I don't know, I feel like the program sometimes changes people for the best, sometimes for the worse, and for me, I'm still young, so I'm still growing up, I'm still learning a lot about myself, and I really felt like it gave me an opportunity to be independent and have to do things for myself. Even silly things like feeding myself and going food shopping. And you know, I feel like that really has molded me as a human being, and I'm so much stronger, and I really believe I can do anything now. And we all have bad days, we all have off days, and we're all down on ourselves, sometimes a little bit too hard on ourselves, but now I really feel like anything is possible. Alex Potter asked, favorite thing about being home? Probably having my family so close to me. I can hop on a train and just see my boyfriend. My best friend just lives down the street from me. All of the food, roast dinners, fish and chips, all of those amazing things. Being able to drive, I miss driving so much, and now I have a new car. I'm so excited to always hop in my car. Being back at work, I'm excited to be back at work because I'm lame. Kerry Hazel asked, how do you deal with rejection for CRP? So rejection was something that I had to deal with a fair few times from the CRP. I applied a total of 4 times before I got an interview, so before I got past the application process. So I had to deal with rejection 3 times. Every single time I cried. Every time it broke my heart, and I felt like I couldn't get back up and do it again. But every single time I reminded myself why I wanted it, and why I was crying, and why I was so devastated, and it was because I was so committed to achieving my dream and achieving my goal. And I got back up, I printed out my CV, my cover letter, and my motivation paragraph, and I'd highlight it, annotate it like crazy, and I'd pinpoint where I think that I went wrong. And every single time I'd have a different outcome, I'd have a different outlook on it, and I'd change it a million times over. I'd get so many people to read it and give me feedback on silly things like my spelling and am I speaking the proper English, is it making sense? My dad, he helped me so much, and I cannot thank him enough with the amount of time that he took to help me with my application and just reading through and making sure that it all made sense, because sometimes I was talking total like trash. Be patient, tell yourself that the dream isn't over, and you know, anything is possible. If you believe that you can reach this goal and it's something that you want enough, then go out and get the relevant skills. What are they looking for that you don't necessarily have? Ask for feedback. Do what other people wouldn't and go that little bit further to make it obvious that you're really committed to this job and it's something that you really want. And I believe that is the case with anything. And if you want something enough, then you are more than able to go out and chase that dream. And I believe that with any job, any profession, any dream that you might have, I believe that every single one of you can push yourselves to make sure that your dream come true. And that really comes from my heart, I believe that. So that was the last question. Thank you so much for sending all of your questions in. I truly appreciate it, and I really enjoy doing these Q&As. I just hope that they can help you guys with your application and any insights into the program that you might not necessarily get from reading things online or even on the Yummy Jobs website. So I really hope that I can get that insight for you guys. Make sure that you comment, like, subscribe, all of those good things. Follow me on Instagram, it's at Ellie Brown. I post a lot more on Instagram than I do on my channel, so definitely make sure you follow me over there. I am going to try and start posting a little bit more regular now that I'm home. Definitely, if that's what you guys want. I get a lot of messages asking, what are you going to do now? Are you going to start weekly vlogging and all these things? But for now, I'm just going to try and post weekly and see what is feasible for me, because I have a lot going on in my own personal life, and YouTube wasn't something that I had going on in my life before I did my program, so I'm now trying to slip that in as well. I'm definitely trying to stay on top of it, but let me know in the comments what you guys want to see, any suggestions of videos. Thank you so much for watching. I hope it's been a useful insight for you guys, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!
But baby, I'm here and I'm watching you move. There's just one thing you should know, girl.